Kevin wrote a book. This is a compendium of all of his crazy animal stories and veterinary work in the field over the last like 15 years. Look at this picture. I took that picture. Here it is. I cry on page 92. This is a true story. I actually did cry. He disappeared. I took a nap. I woke up. He was gone. Unbeknownst to me, he had found a crocodile. He reappeared at the hotel with a crocodile in our car, and I cried because I thought he had disappeared. I thought something terrible had happened to him. To celebrate the book, I decided the perfect thing to make would be the tiger cake from The Icing Artist. If you have not seen this cake yet, I will link her video down below. You have to go watch not only the tiger cake, but she is a phenomenal cake artist. So in her video, she just starts with like a very basic vanilla cake. This is flour, baking powder, and salt all mixed together. This is 5 eggs, 1 whole stick of butter or 8 tablespoons of butter, 1 cup of regular granulated sugar, ½ a cup of vegetable oil, and 1 cup of milk.
And a dollop of pure vanilla extract.
First things first, I'm gonna put the butter, sugar, and the oil and whip that all together until it's just combined. I always forget to do this in the beginning. Preheat the oven to 350 degrees. I also forgot to say, this batter makes enough for 2 9-inch cake rounds. Now, we're gonna put the dry ingredients in with the milk, and we're gonna alternate dry milk until they're both completely gone and incorporated.
This is where you add the vanilla extract, about a teaspoon.
Look at that, it's so silky.
That's what she said.
This is a really good, just basic standard vanilla cake recipe that you should just have in your book. Just know this one by heart, because this can be the base for so many different things. You always have to taste test. Gotta make sure you didn't leave anything out, you know? Super important testing.
And now comes the fun part. Grab 3 separate mixing bowls and spread the batter evenly between them.
I'm not measuring this to be like totally precise, so I'm eyeballing it to be equal, which should be fine.
Oh, come on, you know you're doing it too.
I'm using like a food gel instead of like those liquid drops. I just think gel looks better. It doesn't have a weird taste to it. I actually only need to color 2 of these because one of them is just gonna stay vanilla.
If you've never worked with food dye before, typically a little goes a very long way. So just go bit by bit. You can always add more if it's not strong enough. Yeah, see, I want this just a tad darker, especially because these bake up a little lighter than the batter looks.
I don't have black in this, so I'm gonna have to make black.
So to make black, I basically threw every color I have in here and just kept mixing it till it got a little closer to where I wanted. Now in this case, a little does not go a long way. I used quite a lot, but generally you'd be very surprised how little dye goes a long way. It's close enough. It's black-ish.
Okay, let's see, what does she do next?
A fairly easy one, getting in the center of the cake pan, and then
Let's prep these pans. She's putting the orange just dolloped, not spread out, just dolloped in the middle, then the black, then the white dolloped, and you just allow it to spread itself out in the pan.
That said, I did find that it helps to bang the pan just a little bit on the counter. So keep layering this evenly between the 2 pans until you have no batter left.
My hands are multicolored right now. I've got so many different stains on my fingers. It looks so cool, this visual effect of like the layers just spreading out. Last one. I really hope this bakes up the way hers did. All right, fingers crossed. So they baked up with little stripes on the top. So far so good, because this is what this is what her cakes looked like. So I've let them cool off completely. They're like not even a little bit warm. And so I'm just gonna take these out and I'm gonna slice the top layer off just to make it flat and even. Sometimes a better tip is to get a piece of floss and just, you are so loud. Oh my God, are you joking?
I'm sorry, I like doing stuff.
The door beeps every time he comes. Anyway, a better way to level your cakes than what I'm doing now is to take a piece of floss and kind of saw it across the cake. It usually makes it a lot more even because you can make mistakes when you do it this way. I don't have unscented floss. All the floss I have in the house is mint flavored, so you definitely don't want to do that. Yes.
And now the frosting.
Super simple vanilla buttercream recipe.
1 stick of unsalted butter, 4 cups of powdered sugar, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and 2 tablespoons of whole milk.
I actually, to be honest, I don't have heavy cream right now, so I'm just using whole milk.
Then mix in the orange dye to your liking, but you know, it should be dark like the tiger.
And I've lost my daylight. I'm gonna turn on the light, but it's gonna make everything look weird and orange. Sorry. There we go.
Bottom cake on cake stand, and go. The center frosting is to your liking, however thick you want this center part to be. I don't like it too thick, but I don't skimp out either.
I'm just gonna pipe a circle like this.
I'm piping a circle only on the edge just to smooth out the surface.
It's gonna go on the top right there. Okay, so now I'm gonna clean this up. I'm gonna put, just like she did, I'm gonna put a very thin layer of buttercream on the outside, put it in the fridge, let it harden up, and then I'm gonna ice it for real, like the final icing. This super thin layer of buttercream really just locks the crumbs into the layer of butter so that when you're icing your cake, you don't have crumbs coming up to the top.
So the whole thing goes in the fridge just like this, and the icing will harden. So this is the decorative part, the part that your guests are going to see. So the most efficient way to get a nice smooth surface is to pipe a lot of icing onto the surface and onto the sides. And then it's just a matter of smoothing it out, making nice, long, broad strokes. Another helpful trick with icing is the temperature of the icing. It's easier to work with and it's easier to make a smooth surface if the icing is just a little bit cold. So you want it to hit somewhere between refrigerated and room temperature. The closer it gets to room temperature, the harder it's going to be to control.
Now I'm going to paint on the stripes like she did.
So what she does, she made an icing and she dyed the icing black, and then she kind of paints it onto the cake and then feathers it out in a nice natural fashion. I ran out of time, so I skipped the icing part and I literally just painted dye onto the cake.
So she made this part look very easy. I'm sure it's not.
Yeah, it's definitely not. She's an artist and she makes this look easy. And to be honest, doing it with the icing probably would have had a much better result. Something like that. It's by no means as elegant as her result, but in the end, it had the total effect I was going for. And now the part we've all been waiting for, the point of this video.
Cut this slice.
Are you making a wish, Ev? Your mega sales on we're wishing for mega sales on
The stripes actually did work. I mean, they're there, undeniably. But the biggest difference is the icing on the outside. Laurie's is definitely more pro. But hey, it tastes good.
I would say this technique of layering cake batters is genius, and I might use it for something else.
And it was indeed the perfect cake to mark Evan's book. And by the way, get your own copy of Evan's book, World Wild Vet, at the link below or anywhere books are sold. And next time, I'm returning with another Cook Like a World Traveler recipe.
See you next time.